Welcome back. Among all the countries that invest in Indonesia, the Investment Coordinating Board still noted that Singapore is still in the top country that has invested the most in Indonesia throughout 2020.
The Indonesia Investment Coordinating Board, or BKPM, recorded investment realizations of 826.3 trillion rupiah throughout 2020. BKPM claimed that the realizations exceeded the target of 817.2 trillion rupiah. From the total investment in 2020, Singapore ranks the first with 9.8 billion US dollar. Under Singapore, there is China with investment realizations of 4.8 billion US dollar, followed by Hong Kong with 3.5 billion US dollar and Japan by 2.6 billion US dollar. Indeed, the development of bilateral relations on the economic sector has been very well developed between Indonesia and Singapore. It can be seen that in the midst of global economic turmoil, Singapore is still Indonesia's main partner in trade sector, whereas the number of investment is higher as the time goes by. From all sources, IDX Channel.
Not only in 2020, Singapore has been the top foreign investor in Indonesia since 2014. But before we discuss more about economic relationship between Indonesia and Singapore, I would like to show you first where Singapore's position is compared to other countries with biggest investment in Indonesia. Let's check the first graphic. So in the first graphic, there are countries with biggest investment in Indonesia. The first one is Singapore with 9.8 billion US dollar investment. The second one is China with 4.8 billion US dollar. Hong Kong on the third place with 3.5 billion US dollar. South Korea fall with 2.6 billion US dollar, and Japan on the top 5 with 1.8 billion US dollar total investment value in Indonesia. As a whole, the Indonesia Investment Coordinating Board, or BKPM, recorded investment realization of 826.3 trillion rupiah throughout 2020. But still, Singapore ranks first as country with biggest investment in Indonesia. Under Singapore, there is China with investment realization of 4.8 billion US dollar. But through the number, we can see that Singapore's number is undefeatable. Also, through the graphic, we can see that Singapore and Indonesia enjoy excellent bilateral relations, including strong economic cooperation. Businesses of both sides have collaborated well through 9.8 billion US dollar investment. But how about previous years? Let's examine more on Singapore's investment in Indonesia as years go by through the next graphic. So in the second graphic, we can see Singapore's investment in Indonesia, of course, in billion US dollar. On 2018, 9.9 billion US dollar. In 2019, 6.5 billion US dollar, and 2020, 9.8 billion US dollar, Singapore's investment value in Indonesia. But there is interesting statement from BKPM Deputy for Controlling Implementation of Investment, Farah Indriani. She said that the investment from Singapore was not purely from that country. It is because many investments from other countries, such as South Korea, China, the United States, have invested in Indonesia through Singapore. For example, Berkeley Bank is a British bank. Let's say that the company wants to invest to Indonesia, but rather than using its headquarters in UK, Berkeley Bank reversed its branch office in Singapore to the investment in Indonesia. In a sense, the company that invests to Indonesia is UK. But however, from what was listed in BKPM, the investment is still from Singapore. And through the next graphic, let's see how many projects that recorded from Singapore in Indonesia. So this is Indonesia-Singapore total projects in 2017, 5,951. In the next year, 2018, 4,946. While in 2019, there was 7,020 projects between Indonesia and Singapore. But back again, not all these projects are Singaporean projects. In short, many countries build their hubs in Singapore, then invest in Indonesia. In our system, it records the country of origin of the investment from Singapore. So it is not surprising that Singapore is always in the top ranking of investment in Indonesia. Indeed, the government of Indonesia and Singapore enjoy a strong economic relationship. As a matter of fact, both central banks, Bank Indonesia and the Monetary Authority of Singapore agreed on several cooperations. What are those? Let's see it through the next graphic. So this is economic cooperation between Bank of Indonesia and Monetary Authority of Singapore as the central bank for both countries. The first one is Local Currency Bilateral Swap Agreement, or LCBSA, and the second one is Bilateral Repo Agreement, or BRL. The data is taken from Bank of Indonesia. So for the Local Currency Bilateral Swap Agreement, it was previously signed after annual leaders meeting between President Joko Widodo and Singapore Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong. The agreement enables both central banks to access foreign currency liquidity from each other if needed. This collaboration is expected to support monetary and financial stability in both countries, while full bilateral repo agreement allows repo transactions between the two central banks to obtain liquidity in United States dollars of up to $3 billion. It is true that Indonesia-Singapore relations are underpinned by strong economic cooperation. Singapore and Indonesia have accomplished much together in the last few years and can do much more together for the long-term benefit of their people. And bilateral ties between Singapore and Indonesia have been strong for decades now, owing to an excellent relationship of trust. Looking forward for brighter cooperation between Indonesia and Singapore. And viewers, stay tuned on Market Headlines because Market Headlines will be right back after this quick break.